How do you measure a year? In daylights, in sunsets, in midnights, in cups of coffee, in inches, in miles, in laughter, in strife, in 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year in the life?
Oh, my memories of being with my little are just many. It's like, if you ask somebody, what's your favorite memory of being with your father or mother? I mean, there's just so many that it's hard to even think of one. But if I had to think of one, it would, one of them would have to be right here when we were first matched. It was a hot day like today, and we came out here. We had some soft drinks and root beers, and started drinking them. And before you knew it, we were having a belching contest. And here we are 27 years later. I still remember that very fondly.
I come from a family of 5 siblings, 5 of us total. And it was just my mom, and it was pretty chaotic, and she somehow found big brothers, big sisters, and a couple of us had matches, but Gary and I are the longest, and we met shortly after we moved to Tucson, and Himmel Park was our first meeting, which is where we are right now. And my first impression of my big brother was just, I was so happy to meet somebody, and like I said, we came to Himmel Park and drank soda and burped and thought it was the funnest time ever.
I was 10 years old when I became a little, and not so much that I needed a big brother, but I wanted one. My mom brought the idea up to me, and it sounded cool to me. I was young, so I thought when she said you're gonna get a big brother, I was like, okay, somebody's like 12 or 13. We'll hang out all the time. And then she explained it to me, and I was like, that sounds pretty cool. Like I can deal with that.
I was 3 years out of college when I came to Tucson, and I'd been a big brother, though it wasn't as intensive when I was at college. And I had it in my head that when I came to a new town, that was the first thing I'd do, or at least sign up to do, and that's what I did. I came to Tucson, went to Big Brothers, signed up. 6 months later, I had a kid.
I grew up with male influence in my household, but nobody really with real corporate success, I should say, or even education. I think that's one of the biggest roles he played in my life. Just, he was a genius, a math genius at Duke, and I hated math. So that's just something. I mean, he always challenged me in that area, and I always felt like I wanted to impress him in some area. But I knew what he did, and I knew where he was because of his education. So I think I went to college really because of his influence.
It's an honor to have had any influence on someone who already had a real good sense of himself.
Oh, my little had a significant impact on my life, and she's just an incredible young lady. I am so proud of her, and she was extremely shy when I first met her, and I'm not a overly chatty person, and so it was sort of a nice match. We would get together, and I wouldn't force her to talk, but I would try to encourage her every time to be more communicative and maybe order something when we went out to a restaurant. And
my first impression of my sister is that she's the nicest person I've ever met. She's a teacher, so it was kind of hard to be like myself around her because she was my teacher. But after a while, I got to know her and spend more time with her every week, and it was fun every single week. We had so much fun.
My little is fantastic. I am so proud of her. I love her. She is my sister. I feel like she's my blood relative.
She never judged me for anything and made me want to be the best person I am.
The Big Brothers Big Sisters organization is an incredible organization. I think it provides an opportunity for both littles and bigs to completely change their life.
His influence as far as just my education and making myself a better person, and being accountable for myself, and knowing that one day you're gonna have to take care of yourself, and without proper education it's not gonna work. If I didn't know him, I don't know where the heck I'd be right now.
He taught me to be about something more than myself.
What I'd like to tell people about Big Brothers is that, thank you for being a facilitator of this.
Without Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and without Gary, I just wouldn't have had the role model, first of all. And, you know, Gary's educated, so that helped me to want to further my college education, to be grounded, to just have good decision making. He was always my rock in a chaotic home life, and without all that, I have no idea where I'd be right now.
How do you measure a year? How do you measure 50 years?